Hi everyone. In this module, we'll continue to explore the three overarching concepts of this CHSC 423 course of leadership, grantspersonship, and we'll really dive into public health communication. Last module, we began to apply to group work the leadership principles and values that we've been studying from the resonant model, as well as the social change model and Ella Baker model of leadership. This is the intersection where these models lead us down a path of public health fundamental philosophical values of participatory approaches and ultimately remaining congruent with social justice. Let's take a moment to reflect on these C's that we've discussed thus far and reiterate that they are all interrelated, even reliant on one another. I guess we can say that, obviously, collaboration is a core value of all group work, public health focused and beyond, just as we discussed last module. In this module, though, we're examining coming together as a group around and identifying a common purpose that brings us closer to and more aligned with our public health aims. Identifying a clear and shared purpose unifies a group organized to create public health change. This part is the most straightforward piece. For your group development, think about how you're developing your own common purpose around your project. I like to use my experience working on behalf of the Mass Coalition to Prevent Gun Violence since we're such a broad-based group. But I'll start, actually, with another example. Another piece of my public health advocacy work focused in schools and aiming to create access for all students to quality nutrient-dense food that also tastes delicious. I formed a group largely in response to media advocacy made up of Boston Public School parents and community members. Some of us are also in the public health, social service, and medical fields, but all of us share a concern about food justice and have a stake, the children, in the process. As such, identifying a shared purpose, vision, values, and aims wasn't that controversial or difficult. Okay, now coming back to the Mass Coalition, a shared purpose is a little more straightforward since we all came to the group compelled by the toll of guns and power by the NRA in this country. Your CHSC 423 groups were formed in a similar way. Group membership of the Mass Coalition is large and vast, and should be in order to effectively influence policy change. However, some of us appreciate participatory approaches, while others are of a more top-down style philosophy. And we have members who value everything in between. Think of the areas where your groups have diverged. Recognizing and understanding controversy with civility is important to move forward as a team and come to terms to articulate shared vision, values, and aims. Controversy with civility is the ability to discuss diverse opinions and perspectives while maintaining respect. Back to the Mass Coalition. While the opinions, perspectives, and values of the people from the 50-plus organizations vary to a much greater extent than everyone's shared purpose of reducing gun death, the leadership of the organization has successfully been open to hearing out varying opinions. Well, for the most part. So even more challenging is an external perspective where we communicate public health messages to a much broader population who may not share a common purpose. Public health leadership, by its nature, deals with controversy, and much of our work is contested by those wanting to maintain the status quo or who benefit from the current power arrangement, or by those who are disenfranchised in some way and therefore feel fearful of any public health engineered change. In some cases, evidence doesn't matter, as people have no conception of it. And in some instances, we are wrong, as we didn't do our homework, or listen enough, or frame the message in a way that speaks to common ground. So this brings us to public health communication. As we mentioned in the last module, when we use the term communication, we're exploring two key facets. First, we're talking about internal communication and communication among our groups, as I've used the Mass Coalition and your CHSC 423 groups to exemplify. Working toward a common purpose in our groups requires open communication among group members. We need a common language. We need to listen. We need meaningful dialogue, and we have to convey our message articulately. Where are your groups with these important attributes of group communication? Now let's turn our communication focus to external communication. A definition of external communication by Parvanta, one of the authors that we've read this semester, is how people use messages to generate meanings within and across various contexts, cultures, channels, and media. And then when we look at health communication, this is the study and use of communication strategies to inform and influence individual and community decisions that enhance health. For our group projects, how is your group, one, communicating that there is an intervention and recruiting participants, but also communicating the key messages from your interventions, the key health messages? We have so many communication channels today. How do we effectively communicate evidence-based public health messages that stand apart from all of the other messages that we're infiltrated with through all of these channels? Public health communication can be drowned out. Therefore, we have to create timely, well-defined, well-executed, and sustainable messages that meet very specific objectives. In this module, we're taking a close look at advocacy and communication strategies for advocacy. We define advocacy as an attempt to influence public health opinion and attitudes that directly affect people's lives. With advocacy, we're often bringing an issue to a decision maker, whether it be for an institution or community or federal policy in a country. As you know, we have an op-ed piece due very soon. Op-eds and letters to the editor are often intended to influence our community, but also policymakers, to show what constituents are thinking and how we're feeling. For your op-ed piece, you're welcome to take up the public health issue that your groups are working on. Another realm of public health communication is social marketing. This is the design, implementation, and control of programs aimed at increasing the acceptability of a social idea or practice in one or more groups of target adopters. Advocacy and social marketing are not separate communication strategies. Think about policy and how that has impacted our social marketing strategies. Driving without a seatbelt is very directly related to click it or ticket. And think of some smoking social marketing efforts and smoking laws that have gone into effect over the past 2 decades. I'm really looking forward to reading your op-ed pieces because there are so many issues that are in need of advocacy. I look forward to seeing what you come up with and the solutions that you propose. Thank you very much.